The latest Steam Next Fest is upon us, and with it come a bunch of new games that you can try throughout the next week. I always love the Next Fest as it's a great way to try out new things that you might not have before, or just get hands-on with some upcoming games that you're excited about. So on that note, I've got 8 RTSs for you here that you can download and boot up right now, up until February 12th. A lot of these games have full or early access releases scheduled for this year, and there will be links in the description for all of them if you'd like to download them, add them to your Steam wishlist, or simply have a gander. Starting us off, we have Godsworn, and well, boy, was I sleeping on this one. There have been a handful of demos for this over the past wee while, and the footage you're seeing is from one of those demos. The game is releasing into early access at the end of next month, and the Next Fest demo is bringing some extra content to the current build to close off its pre-release period. The developers describe it as a classic mythological RTS, and that is right on the money. It certainly has some Age of Mythology vibes going, but it has a lot of Warcraft 3 DNA in its veins as well. You've got the hero units with leveling and abilities, creeps to fight around the map, quality over quantity approach to units, and last but certainly not least, excellent presentation. Seriously, this game looks, sounds, and vibes really hard. This caught me off guard because I'd been aware of Godsworn over the last while, but I hadn't really looked at it seriously until now, and man, I am so glad I did. You can really see the care and attention put into it, and I can't wait to play it once it's fully released. There's a campaign coming, which I'm really excited about, and yeah, I'm just eager to see what the team can pull off. And it's not just the presentation that impressed me either. Mechanically, it brings some interesting systems and doesn't adhere strictly to the classic RTS formula. It does follow some guidelines, but it feels like a smart evolution, rather than change for the sake of it. Particularly how resources and villages are managed, which mixes elements of Age of Empires, Rise of Nations, and Warcraft 3 to make a really, really good system here. Look, I'll leave it at that. You can tell that I like Godsworn, and there is a reason it's the first game I'm talking about today. So go check it out for yourself, and let me know what you think. 9-Bit Armies is the new RTS from Petroglyph Games, creators of Star Wars Empire at War, Universe at War, Grey Goo, and the recently released The Great War at Western Front, which I didn't love, but I know others did, so meh. They also made 8-Bit Armies, a classically styled RTS that was received very positively back in 2016. Unfortunately, I never got around to playing it, but from what I've heard, it's a very endearing throwback to Command & Conquer, with a charming art style, and it looks like 9-Bit Armies will be following this trend. Based on Petroglyph's history, I'd say this will be one of the darlings of this month's Next Fest, so let me know what you think if you give it a go. 9-Bit Armies is targeting a 2024 release date, and if I had to guess, that would probably be a full release. I don't think Petroglyph has done early access before, though this is a self-published title, so we might have to wait and see on that one. Right, Stormgate, the game that needs no introduction. There's not a lot I can say on Stormgate that hasn't already been said, so I'll keep this to the necessities. The Next Fest demo includes 1v1 PvP and 3-player co-op versus AI, and I believe that this is the first time the game has been available for just anyone to hop in and try, which is exciting just on its own. If you backed on Kickstarter, you would have had access to this for a few days now already, but if you missed the train to play early, then you'll continue to have access after the Next Fest is over, as well as the opportunity to play the third faction sometime later this year. If you somehow aren't aware of what Stormgate is, then all you need to know is that it's made by a bunch of ex-StarCraft and Warcraft developers from Blizzard who left to form their own studio, after what I can only presume is a situation where higher-ups wouldn't let anyone make good RTS games anymore. Sound good? Cool, sweet. Nuke the Moon is a pretty cute little strategy game that is a little more casual than the others on this list. It's fairly fast-paced, and it's based around short rounds where you capture flags and command units that are produced on a timer. This one has had a demo available already, and it's aiming for early access sometime in Q1 of this year, so either this or next month. Not a lot to say about this one, it's not exactly my specific kind of game, but it's unique with some fun presentation. You can't go wrong trying it out for free. And if you do, let me know what you think in the comments. Broken Arrow is a very interesting game that's had a fair few demos before this, as well as a lot of excitement behind it, particularly because of its obvious resemblance to World in Conflict. It does veer towards tactics games like Wargame as well as World in Conflict, but but its real-time nature and action-focused gameplay make it a sort of hybrid of the two, which interests me quite a bit, as I've always preferred the more zoomed-in action of World in Conflict and Company of Heroes, rather than the Yugen games like Steel Division and Warno. Though, it has been a while since I played one of those, so maybe it's time I gave it another crack. Anyway, Broken Arrow is aiming at a 2024 release, though I don't believe there are any specific details yet. Also, strictly speaking, this demo isn't actually part of the next fest, it's more just convenient timing. Technically, it's actually not a demo at all, it's a multiplayer beta, intended on testing those elements of the game, and as such, there's no single player content yet, except for the demo mission that you're seeing here. The beta is available until February 16th, so a bit later than the next fest, and you can play it by requesting access on the game's store page. You'll then get an email soon after, letting you know that it's ready for download. Unfortunately, during my brief time with the game, I did experience some pretty significant graphical bugs with these buildings, and performance-wise it wasn't amazing either. Hopefully this is a one-off for me, or something that will get fixed up closer to release. Either way, go give it a shot, and I might even see you online. Global Conflagration. God, I can never pronounce that. This game is a classically styled RTS that I guess you could say is a bit of a Command and Conquer-like, taking inspiration from Generals and other 3D entries of the 2000s. I believe it's being developed by a solo dev, or at most a very small team, so either way, it's quite impressive what's on display here. On release there will be 3 factions with multiplayer PvP and a skirmish mode, as well as hopefully a campaign sometime down the line. They're aiming for an early access release sometime this year, so this demo will be a good opportunity to give it a shot before deciding whether to put some money behind this project. I haven't tried this one personally yet, as I'm writing this just before the next fest actually goes live, but I'll definitely be giving it a shot. Remember, wishlisting games like this helps the devs massively, so if you do find this or any of the other games I'm talking about interesting, then please go and do so. It's free, and I'm sure they will massively appreciate it. Reich is a unique game, and it's one that I've had my eye on for a while. In fact, I actually made a video on it a couple of years ago when they released their first playable demo to early backers. Essentially, it's a Company of Heroes-ish style RTS, but instead of Europeans fighting each other, well, it's rats, and insects, and lizards. But they still use rifles and tanks and stuff. Look, don't worry about the logistics, don't worry about how a cockroach drives a tank, just appreciate the artwork, okay? Reich is aiming for a Q2 early access release, and I can't wait to see how much the game has developed over the last couple of years. I absolutely love the dieselpunk art style, and I reckon this could surpass Iron Harvest as the best vibe-based RTS of the past few years. By the way, when are we getting a sequel for that? Okay, yes, I hear your comments. Bar isn't part of the next fest, and no, it doesn't even have a special release right now. I get it, but look, Bar is free, you can download it right now, and every time it's mentioned online, I read at least a handful of comments from people saying they had no idea it existed. So for your benefit, I'm going to keep mentioning it until all have been blessed by its greatness. Beyond All Reason, or Bar for short, is a spiritual successor to Total Annihilation, and out of the many of those that exist, I reckon it's the best, and I'd be surprised if anything upcoming could surpass it. Yes, even Industrial Annihilation, but that's a video for another time. Maybe next week. Keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, Bar, it captures the best parts of TA and brings it into our era of modern gaming. There are 2 factions with hundreds of units between them, an in-depth streaming economy, multiple game modes suited for co-op, PvP, and solo play, as well as some of the best graphics and special effects I've seen in any RTS. I've gone on record saying Bar was the best strategy game I played in 2023, and I stand by that. Please give it a try, for free! You won't be disappointed. The only downside is that you can't get it on Steam yet, but it's easy enough, so just go do it. Now, I quickly wanted to mention a couple of games that you might be looking out for that don't have demos in the next fest. Sanctuary is one of them, which if you didn't know is the spiritual successor to Supreme Commander that everyone's so excited about. They did have a demo available at PAX Australia late last year, but I do understand them not wanting to get it out to the wider public just yet. They've said they want a great demo to be available when they launch their Kickstarter campaign, so I'm hoping that both of those will be here this year. Fingers crossed, but you can be sure that I will let you know when it happens. And lastly, despite having demos in previous Next Fests, Manor Lords won't be making an appearance in this one. That's because it's releasing in full in just a couple of months at the end of April. Like most people, I'm pretty sure this will be a slam dunk, so keep your eyes on its Steam page if you're interested. And you can join those 2 million people who have wishlisted it already. Good lord. And that's it. I hope you found a game or two to try out that catch your interest. Please do leave me a comment if you gave any of these a try, and let me know what you thought. Big thanks to my patrons and YouTube members who support me and what I do here. You can join for as little as $1 a month, and you'll join legends like Dakayo, Bad Ghosts, Sean, Grey Spirit 4, George, Netters, John Kaiser, King Thickums, Pavel, Bram, Christian, Dan 4, Bishop's Arch, Orion, Disrufkin, and Cameron. And my paladins, Johnny, Marika, Age of Cause, Joe, Tank, and Empyrean. And thank you again very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.